Yeah, there's a story that came out last week. Now, we predicted the outcome of this story, and that is the Michael Sussmann trial. The conclusion of the trial was with his acquittal, which, if you remember, Michael Sussmann was the lawyer for the Hillary Clinton campaign back in 2016, and he was doing a number of things for the campaign. One of the things that he did was he went to the FBI, and he said, I'm here not as a representative of the Clinton campaign. And this is something that the FBI witnesses in the trial, particularly James Baker, who was then the general counsel of the FBI, now works for Twitter. James Baker said he was 100% certain that Michael Sussmann, when he came to him and met with him in his office, and these were former colleagues from the Department of Justice, that he was 100% certain Sussmann was adamant that he was there of his own accord, just as a private citizen. I'm a patriot, sir. I didn't come here because someone's paying me to be here, paying me $5, $6, $7, well, at D.C. rates, maybe $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 an hour to be here. No, that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I care about this country, sir, and I've stumbled upon something that you people in the FBI need to know about. You need to know that there is this secret back channel between the Trump campaign and Vladimir Putin in Russia via Alpha Bank. Now, who would expect them to use a bank, right, for a secret back channel? But we've got the information that shows that there's this internet traffic that shouldn't be there, and the traffic is between Trump and his organizations and Russia. Alpha Bank, Russia, Vladimir Putin. So you've, as a concerned patriot, sir, I had to come forward with this information. And that's essentially, now we weren't there at the meeting, but I think it went something like that. That was the meeting. That's the basis of the entire case, because as it turned out, Michael Sussmann wasn't there of his own accord. He wasn't there as a private citizen. In fact, he was charging his client for the time to meet with James Baker, and he was performing a client-related function, which was to try to seed this disinformation that the Hillary Clinton campaign had created, and that's exactly what it was. Even the internet people who were involved with this, who were trying to say, look, guys, this basically strains credulity, as you'd say, or it really stretches how far we can take a little story and twist it to try to say that this traffic is somehow a back channel with Russia when this traffic is spoofed in there. In other words, they kind of created this document appearing to show this traffic, and they basically said to each other, and this is from internal emails and communications, they said, this is not going to stand up to scrutiny. This is absolutely not going to stand up to scrutiny. When somebody who knows what they're talking about takes a good look at this, pardon me, when somebody knows what they're talking about, takes a good look at this, it's just not going to hold up over the long haul. So this was the internal conversation they were having among the Hillary Clinton campaign and all of the various players that were helping them to gin up this conspiracy theory, by the way, not a shred of which has ever been proved true. There has been nothing proved true out of all of the allegations that were made against Trump, out of the Steele dossier, Michael Cohen going to Prague. I'm having a tough time with my voice this morning. Michael Cohen going to Prague, on a secret mission. There was nothing proved about that. We've got, of course, the salacious allegations about President Trump, well, then candidate Trump, staying in a Moscow hotel room. And I don't know if you remember those. They're really not appropriate for the family setting that we like to sometimes have in this show. So, but if you don't remember those, you should look up some of this stuff about the actual allegations. And these things were writ large in the media. I mean, the media ran with these things. I mean, it's like they took them hook, line, and sinker, as you say in fishing. It's like they swallowed the whole thing whole. They just believed it, the whole thing, without even looking into it. And some would say they did that on purpose, that it wasn't that they actually looked at the evidence and evaluated it and just made the wrong choice, that it really didn't matter what the evidence was, because the media is not there to look at the evidence and evaluate it and try to get to the truth. They're there to push out talking points and push out a narrative as they try to essentially control the mind of the American population through propaganda, if we want to kind of summarize it for you. Although when you say it like that, people say, oh my gosh, that's just a conspiracy theory. I can't. And remember, people that say that, a lot of these people don't want to be awakened to the truth of what's going on, to the truth of what CNN is, to the truth of what even Fox News is, to the truth of what all these crawlers and visuals and other hypnotizing devices that are part of television programming, what that's really designed to do to you. So maybe it's more comfortable if you don't acknowledge what's really going on. Kind of like I'm going to say like the cow in the feedlot, well, where did those other cows go? Well, they went off to cow college. That's where they went. They'll be back one day when they've got their degrees. Don't you worry. You just keep enjoying your food, and one day you'll get to go to cow college too. And let me tell you, that's a great day. When you graduate from the feedlot, that is a great day. We should all celebrate that day. So that's what a lot of people want to do, is they want to stay asleep. They don't. I don't know if I'm getting a little too wonky here.
No, I was following you.
They want to stay asleep. They don't want to know.
Wait, this isn't a good thing to go to cow college. Wait, I think that's a bad thing. You're not going to get a degree.
You do not want to graduate. You do not want to be a valedictorian and head off to cow college. Trust me. That is not a good thing. Okay, but anyway, the point is folks have to wake up to what the media does. And this whole, you're seeing it played out again for us. Another great example, and that's after the Sussmann trial, after which he's acquitted, which we predicted something like this was going to happen, that there was going to be some failure. Probably that the jury would acquit him, given that they had, 3 Hillary Clinton supporters, donors, AOC partisan supporters. They had a lady whose daughter, I think, was on, the rowing team with Sussman's daughter, some intramural type of sports team. So basically, probably at least a friendly acquaintance of the defendant. All these people made it onto the D.C. jury, and of course, we know in D.C. you've got, 90% Democrat. So what hope do you have of convicting somebody in D.C. if they're a Democrat? Now, if they're a Republican, you don't even actually have to prove the case, as we've seen happen before. But in the case of Michael Sussmann, they had the guy dead to rights as far as the evidence goes, because they had the testimony from the FBI agent saying he came in here and he told me he was not representing a client. Of course, they had the billing records showing that he billed for that time representing the Hillary Clinton campaign. And then we had all of the other evidence, which shows that the internal workings in the campaign. They knew this story was fake when they started seeding it into the media. And then you've got Hillary Clinton tweeting away about it. I've got serious questions about Trump and his connections through Russian financial industry with Vladimir Putin, and these kind of tweets that she was pushing out of that nature. And she wasn't the only one. Robbie Mook and others were pushing these tweets out. The media was picking it up and running with it. Confidential sources indicate that there was some secret back channel traffic. They were doing all of this stuff. And while it turns out it was all fabricated by the Clinton campaign, you bring the guy up on what's frankly some pretty light charges, lying to the FBI one time in one incident. I would imagine they could have found more than that on him, but that's what Durham brought forward. And it was like a prosecution designed to fail. It was a prosecution designed to fail. And then you see it played out right in front of you, because what do you see the media saying? Well, you see the media saying things like, Durham prosecution investigated by failure in embarrassed by failure in Michael Sussmann trial. Or you'll see things about how, completely baseless the Durham investigation has proved to be. They can't get anybody. Remember the guy, Kevin Kleinsmith, who forged the document, literally changed the meeting 180 degrees of a document which said, hey, this guy, Carter Page, is a former CIA source, and they changed it to say he's not a CIA source. In the document, Kevin Kleinsmith did that. Of course, he got a slap on the wrist. I think they've already let him get his law license back. I think, would he get like a year of like probation or something for that, for forging a document? He's an actual FBI lawyer. He really ought to know better. So he gets nothing essentially for that. I mean, hasn't he suffered enough? His name has been sullied. Forget the fact that it's based on something that he chose to do. Forget the fact that it's based on a crime that he chose to commit. His name has already been sullied. He doesn't need to be punished. Well, same thing with Michael Sussmann, apparently. And in this case, of course, they'll just say he didn't even commit any crime. As he said to the media, this is after the acquittal, quote, I told the truth to the FBI, and the jury clearly recognized that. Well, there you go. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.